All right, that's enough. Extroverts. All the introverts are sitting already. They have been almost the whole time. Well, if you have ever visited our website or seen anything we've ever put out digitally or in print, you quickly find out that Church in Bethesda is a multi-denominational, multicultural, open and inclusive congregation. That means whoever you are, however you choose to label yourself and desire to be labeled, you are welcome here. We are a place that welcomes and includes everybody. And today Trey is going to share a story about his life and some music with us about that openness and about that welcome. Would you give a big round of applause for Trey Pearson?
Thank you. Oh, head full of stars. Yeah, you swore you saw the love leaking from your heart. Down the boulevard, city lights swallowed up by an endless dark. Didn't want the pain to begin again, but it just makes you strong. When you're walking free after bleeding feet, welcome back to the dawn. I cut my hands on the edge of the world, holding on with all my might. Crawled through the depths to the diamonds and pearls. I made it to the other side, and I saw you, waiting for me on the silver horizon. I saw you, waiting for me on the silver horizon. Oh, heart full of scars. No, you don't have to run from your broken parts. Now here we are, but we just keep pushing on. We don't know how far. Didn't want the pain to begin again, but it just makes you strong. When you're walking free after bleeding feet, welcome back to the dawn. I cut my hands on the edge of the world, holding on with all my might. Cut through the depths to the diamonds and pearls, and waited for the other side. And I saw you, waiting for me on the silver horizon. I saw you, waiting for me on the silver horizon. Oh no, I don't wanna feel the hurt broken from this heart. Oh, yeah, the heavy came down hard, but the light's not far. I cut my hands on the edge of the world, holding on with all my might. Crawled through the depths to the diamonds and pearls. I made it to the other side, and I saw you, waiting for me on the silver horizon. I saw you, waiting for me on the silver horizon. Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name is Trey Pearson. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. And a little bit about me. I grew up outside of Columbus in a small town in a very conservative Christian family. And I grew up being taught that God loved me until, I got to this point in adolescence where I learned that my family and my church only believed God loved certain people and people that were acceptable or that had said the right prayer or believed the right things. And I also found myself as a young kid, very confused about a lot of things that I was taught to believe, but really desperately wanting to believe what my family and church had taught me to believe. And so, long story short, I eventually signed a record deal with a big Christian record label out of Nashville after my freshman year of college, and I used to tour around the world in a band called Everyday Sunday. And then about 7 years ago, my life hit the fan, and I came out of the closet to myself and my family. Thank you. And so I started over, and I'm going to tell you all a little bit about this, but it has been a crazy several years because I started over as a solo artist, and then COVID happened, and so there was a time there that I was not able to tour, and it feels very good to get to be back out on the road and get to be sharing my story and my songs with people. So I'm so happy to be here now. This is a song that I wrote during COVID, and I was actually asked by an older gay man back in Columbus to write a love letter to all the LGBTQ people that went through the AIDS pandemic to everybody that's been going through this pandemic, and that's what this song's about. It's called 1984. This would help. Hey, you say, is the end inside? I forget what it's like to be with my friends at night. Wait, they say, we've been here before, been quilting our way through the 80s and more. And gonna meet this moment. Gonna fight, it's time to rise up. We've been here before, back on our feet. Won't take it anymore, and rise up. Get ready to fight our victory, and we've always survived. Since 1984, 1984, growing up, I remember my uncle gave all the love he had till the plague took him away. Love with pain, can't see a new way. Had to lose so much just to see we're all the same. And gonna meet this moment. Gonna fight, it's time to rise up. We've been here before, back on our feet. Won't take it anymore, and rise up. Get ready to fight, it's our victory, and we've always always survived since 1984. 1984. Hey, you say, is the end inside? I forget what it's like to be with my friends at night. So rise up, we've been here before. Back on our feet, won't take it anymore. And rise up, get ready to fight. It's our victory, and we've always survived since 1984. 1984. Thank you. So, growing up in this small town outside of Columbus, Ohio, my parents worked in the city, and I, had a piano in our basement, and somebody taught me how to figure out how to create any chord on a piano, and so I loved messing around with that. And then as a teenager, I started doing professional theater downtown Columbus, and I loved doing that. I loved performing, and I was also growing up in this very conservative Christian family. And when I was about 11 years old, growing up in this small town called West Jefferson, my grandparents lived in this town, my aunt and uncle lived in this town, my cousins, and we did everything together. And when I was about 11 years old, my uncle, who was married with 2 kids, got diagnosed HIV positive. And when I was about 12 and a half, he died of AIDS. And during this time, I was getting involved in theater, and I was learning about the AIDS pandemic outside of what was happening in my own family. And it was very confusing because it was mostly known as this gay disease, and I did realize other people got it sometimes, but there was just a lot of questions about how did my uncle get it. And there were a lot of different stories, but eventually it became this thing you just didn't talk about. And at the same time, I'm hitting adolescence and learning my own attractions that I feel super ashamed about. And so I would just pray every night, please God, don't let me be gay. Please God, don't let me be gay. And I wanted so bad to be healed because I was taught that it was a choice. And I didn't want to choose something that I was told is an abomination to God, and that God hated, and that my family would hate. And then there's the fear of AIDS and all this stuff going on. And so I was just trying to do everything I could not to be gay. And I was very much brainwashed as a kid to believe that it wasn't natural, to believe it was a choice, and it had a lot of big-time effects on me. And then, and so I learned to push all those feelings down and pretend I didn't have them. And I definitely couldn't tell anyone about it, and I couldn't even admit to myself that I was gay. And so I remember I had my first girlfriend in 8th grade, and end of 8th grade and beginning of 9th grade, she broke up with me because I wouldn't kiss her. and then, I definitely had a couple girlfriends, not again until my senior year of high school into college, and she wanted to get married, so we broke up. And then, but also during that time as a teenager, I got invited to this mega church youth group. And so, to me, all of a sudden I found hundreds of other kids at this huge church that also wanted to honor God with their lives and to be good Christian kids. And you also found identity and community. And so that helped me push it down even further and further. And I also found out about Christian music. And I don't know, did any of you grow up with Christian music? Some of you? So growing up, I'd heard of like Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith, and then my oldest sister got a DC Talk free at last tape that she didn't want, so she gave it to me, and I would play basketball and listen to it. And then I go to this youth group, and all of a sudden I find out about all these different Christian music artists, and I loved performing, and I taught myself a little bit of piano growing up, and so I thought, oh, this would be fun. There were some kids in our youth group that would write songs and play them for the youth group, so I thought, I'll do that. And that's how I started my band Everyday Sunday as a teenager. And after my freshman year of college, we signed that record deal. We start touring the world. And I remember, I loved doing this, and it felt like I was doing so many things right, like God was honoring me for what I was doing. At least that's what I was told over and over again. And it felt like a dream come true in so many ways. We had some success in that world. We never got as big as Amy Grant, but we had a handful of number one singles, 20 top 10s, and all of a sudden we're touring in all 50 states and 20 countries. And I remember even in my early 20s, I would still come home, and my mom's a late night person like me, and when you're a musician and you play concerts at night, you're typically a pretty late night person. But I would stay up late with my mom when I would come home, and we'd hang out, and I would ask her, I was like, even in my early 20s, I just still felt like I had no concept of what it was like to fall in love, because all these feelings I ever had towards guys, I was taught was a temptation from the devil, and that wasn't natural. And so I didn't think of that as having crushes or falling in love. But I still was this hopeless romantic that wanted to experience what it was like to fall in love. And so I would ask my mom, even in my early 20s, I'd be like, Mom, what's it feel like? And I was so brainwashed, and I would separate all my feelings about guys as this different category of just desiring close friends and male intimacy, and which is great, but wasn't what was going on. And so all of a sudden I was home from touring and was hanging out with people from my megachurch that I still went to whenever I wasn't touring, and there was this girl there that was home from college, and we're hanging out, laughing, have a good time. And I thought, man, I need to meet a girl like her. And I thought, oh, well, could I? And so slowly I eventually started dating this girl. And I thought, well, we laugh together. We love doing all these things together. And, note to anybody here, just because you're gay and have a girl best friend doesn't mean you should marry them. But that's I didn't know. I thought, well, maybe this is just how it is. And maybe, I also grew up in sexual purity culture, so true love waits. And so I didn't have any concept of what should this feel like. Does everybody else feel like this? And so I thought, well, if I save myself, and I'd never even, the most I'd ever done is peck, like small kiss goodnight to a girl. Like I'd never made out, never done anything else. And I thought, well, if I save myself for marriage like God wants me to, then everything will work out perfectly, just like I was taught. And so I did, I saved myself, and I went into my wedding night praying, hoping, fingers crossed, that everything would magically work. And it didn't. And it was devastating and scary. And I just thought, well, I just need to do whatever it takes to be who my wife needs me to be. And it took a long time of so much shame and things that I had pushed down so far to finally come to terms with the fact that I was gay. And so after 7 years and 2 beautiful kids, I finally came out to myself and my wife and my family. And unfortunately, I lost most of the people in my life by finally choosing to love myself and finally getting some sense of self-awareness. And This song is about all those feelings I ever had growing up. It's called Hey Jesus. Hey Jesus, can you hear me now? It's been a while since I came out. I was wondering, do you love me the same? You see, I've loved you since I was young. You tried to be the greatest son. Now I'm wondering, could they love me the same? 'Cause I know that I could never change. I tried so hard, with so much pain, and I just wanna be loved for who I am. I know that I could never change. I tried so hard, but so much pain, and I just wanna be loved for who I am. I just wanna be loved for who I am. Hey Jesus, can you hear me out? I just want love like everyone else. I was wondering, since you made me this way, do you want me to fall in love, to know what it's like to love someone else in the most intimate way? 'Cause I know that I could never change. I tried so hard, but so much pain, and I just wanna be loved for who I am. I know that I could never change. I tried so hard, but so much pain, and I just wanna be loved for who I am. I just wanna be loved for who I am. Sing that with me, Bethesda. And I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? And I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down sunny day? Let me hear you sing that. And I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? And I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? Hey Jesus, can you hear me out? I just want love like everyone else. I was wondering, could you love me the same? Thank you. So I came out, and I was very lucky before I came out in those years. My touring around the world, there's one beautiful thing about seeing the world is you find out there's a lot of people who think different things and maybe think differently than you were taught growing up. And you realize there's this whole big world out there that you haven't thought about. And so I was slowly, as I was touring and seeing the world and going to these different countries and different places, I was slowly progressing in my faith. I found out about people like Rob Bell, and Rob was a major influence in my life. Who is anybody familiar with Rob Bell here? Yeah, kind of a well-known author and was a pastor for a long time. And it was people like him and a guy named Trip Fuller who has this Homebrewed Christianity podcast, and even Brian McLaren. I would find these books and these people, and it would really challenge me. And so through the years, I'm slowly kind of progressing and challenging myself on what I think. But by the time I finally said, I'm not so sure I think it's a sin to be gay, I was also married and had 2 kids, and it still didn't even feel like an option for myself. And it took me so long. And so when I came out, I knew that there's so many people that have grown up the way I have. And yes, the world is changing slowly, but not fast enough. And there's still countless millions of LGBTQ kids growing up in conservative, fundamentalist faith spaces that feel like it's not okay for them to be who they are. And I thought, well, I want to come out on my own terms. I want to tell my story in a way that hopefully my kids will be proud of me one day, and hopefully it can help other people on their journey, that I can tell it in a way that I really fell in love with Brene Brown and kind of that power of vulnerability. If you've never seen this TED Talk, it's wonderful. But I realized that it's that vulnerability that connects us with others. And so just wanting to make a difference, and hopefully, I hoped that I would get a little love poured out on me to drown out some of the hate, because I knew I would get a lot of hate for talking about my truth. And so I came out, and to my extreme surprise, my story became kind of this viral thing that ended up the #1 most trending topic in the world on Facebook and Twitter, and I ended up going on The View and doing interviews with CNN and the New York Times and Washington Post and Billboard and all these things. And it felt so surreal, because kind of beautiful at the same time, because with my band, we had some success, but definitely not in the amount that ever warranted that kind of attention, I felt like. But I think there's so many people that have grown up in the world we have that have felt like that wasn't working, that wasn't producing good fruit, if you will. And so for whatever reason, I think it resonated with a lot of people around the world. And I love that maybe the most talked about time in my career had nothing to do with my music, but it had to do with me finally getting honest with myself and sharing and being vulnerable with other people. And I'm so thankful to get to even have the chance to still play any of my music or share my story. But it wasn't without loss. When I came out, it really is much love that got poured out on me. It really did drown out any of the hate, and it really gave me hope that the world is changing. But at the same time, I lost my parents in my life. I lost one of my sisters and nieces and nephews, and I lost all of my church family and all the people that I thought loved me. That all of a sudden the phone was silent, right? And that was tough. And about a year ago, actually, I was finishing up this new album that is out called Somebody New, and I wrote this song called Broken Heart, and it was a song I'd written to my parents, and it was just wishing desperately that they would be in my life and my kids' lives. And I had started dating this guy, and wanting them to be a part of our lives, and just feeling so much brokenness from it. And so I wrote this song, and I finished it, and the week after I finished it, I got a call. I got a call from my oldest sister saying that my parents were in a wreck and my father passed away. And all of a sudden, I found myself sleeping at the hospital with my mom, who was in the ICU. And so over this last year, my mom has come back into my life and me and Jonathan's lives and the kids' lives. And it's weird that I wrote the song before this happened and how quickly the questions in this song were answered, where I knew that I was never going to get to have that with my dad. And all of a sudden, my mom was in our lives. And yeah, this song's called Broken Heart. How have you been? I'm learning to build my life without you. You're not around anymore. Soaking in what it's like to grieve this loss before you're gone. Is there a cure? I think I walked past you on Grandview Avenue. I knew I didn't want you to see me, 'cause then it just hurts more. Why couldn't you love me for who I am? Don't you know the feel of pain from a broken heart? Could it ever be the same? Could you come around again? Or was the love you felt for me not who you are? I'm moving on. I'll try to remember how you loved me when I was young. Such a broken son. Should I pretend to be someone that you could love, that you're proud of, someone who is enough? The hard part is my life is better than it ever was. I just wish that you could be here. I wish you could see me here. Why couldn't you love me for who I am? Don't you know the feel of pain from a broken heart? Could it ever be the same? Could you come around again? Or was the love you felt for me not who you are? I think I'm giving up on you ever giving a damn. You know I cannot change who I am. It's not enough for you. I think I'm giving up on you ever giving a damn. You know I cannot change who I am. It's not enough for you. Why couldn't you love me for who I am? Don't you know the feel of pain from a broken heart? Could it ever be the same? Could you come around again? Or was the love you felt for me not who you are? Thank you. Oh, sorry. But you know, in a lot of the pain comes a lot of beauty. And what I have learned is that often, almost always, even when the best things happen to you in life, there is usually something that you'll have to grieve, that you will have to leave behind. And for me, in order to love myself, I lost a lot of people. But there's healing when you choose to love yourself, and when you choose to love, and when you choose to do the work. And it doesn't matter, like I could be your kid graduating from high school or getting married, and even though it's the best thing, it could still hurt and feel painful, because life change is painful sometimes, even when the best things happen. And so all of a sudden I come out, and the best thing that's ever happened to me, and this weight I'd been carrying my whole life is finally lifted off of me. I finally feel like what it's like to feel that. I always grew up hearing about that peace that passes all understanding, that deep joy. And to finally feel that when I finally accept myself and love myself, but to know the pain of losing so many people in my life. But I look at where my life is now, and I look at the dad that I get to be, and I finally have gotten to experience what it's like to fall in love with someone, and we're getting married in May, and it's very exciting. And as hard as some of those things are, gosh, it feels like such a lifetime ago when I was in the closet, and it's so crazy that I lived so much of my life in that world. And I think about where I am now, and I'm just like, why did it take so long? But I look at the freedom that I have, and the joy that I have, and the love that I have, and the way I get to hopefully show my kids that you have to be your best self, and that hopefully I can show them that I'm going to be my best self, so they know it's okay for them to be their best selves. And I cannot even imagine a world where I didn't get to be this way and live in this freedom with them. And I just feel very lucky. Is it okay if I play a couple more songs? All right. So I put out a new album this last year called Somebody You Knew, and I think that means a lot of different things in so many ways. It can be to people that used to know me and think, oh, you've changed. I'm like, yeah, I've changed, and for the better, and I've grown, and but also at the same time, to be somebody that you can know now, and to get to know my life and my journey. And this song is it's one that I've sang to my kids many nights as they've been growing up, but I think it's on the new album, and there's a complete edition coming out of my new album later this year that the new version will be out. But this song's called Lucky, and it's just a lot of how I feel now. So it goes like this. We're going up. Can we make this dream our luck? If we take this chance on feeling something, I'm feeling something. Oh, just look at us now and all that we have. No way that we could ever go back. It's beautiful how we make it last. Just look at us now. Look how lucky we are. Look how far we've come. We're only beginning, reaching up for the stars. Just past Mars, can't wait to see where we're headed. Won't go if you're not with me. Let's pave new roads and make history. We're on top of the world, you know it in your heart. Just look at how lucky we are. Won't hit the brakes on this risk I take for something great. We're taking this chance on finding something. I'm finding something. Oh, look at us now and know that we have no way could ever go back. It's beautiful how we make it last. Just look at us now. Look how lucky we are. Look how far we've come. We're only beginning, reaching up for the stars. Just past Mars, can't wait to see where we're headed. I won't go. Let's pave new roads and make history. We're on top of the world, you know it in your heart. Just look at how lucky we are. It's so magical, supernatural. Look up and see a sky full of miracles. There's a million reasons to believe that somewhere in the galaxy is you and me. Look how lucky we are. Look how far we've come. We're only beginning, reaching up for the stars. Just past Mars, can't wait to see where we're headed. I won't go if you're not with me. Let's pave new roads and make history. We're on top of the world, you know it in your heart. Just look at how lucky we are. Look how lucky we are. Look how lucky we are. I know that love is love. Oh, oh, oh. I know that love is love. Oh, oh, oh. I know that love is love, and I never believed before now. Maybe tonight we'll find out. Don't wanna leave, can't get enough. 'Cause I know that love is love. Oh, oh, oh. I know that love is love. Oh, oh, oh. I know that love is love, and I never believed before now. Maybe tonight we'll find out. Don't wanna leave, can't get enough. 'Cause if you think I'm going to hell, don't dance to my music. If you think I'm going to hell, don't dance to my music. But if you believe in love, then maybe it's enough. But if you think I'm going to hell, but I know that love is love. Oh, oh, oh. I know that love is love. Oh, oh, oh. I know that love is love, and I never believed before now. Maybe tonight we'll find out. Don't wanna leave, can't get enough. I know that love is love. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to do one last song if everybody will stand up and sing along with me. Before I do, my name is Trey Pearson. I'm so glad to be with you all. I'm here with my fiance and my 2 kids, and we've had a lovely time. Really means a lot to get to be here, and thank you for letting me share a little bit about my story. And this is what I do for a living and how I pay the bills, and so I do have some merch out there if you'd like to check it out, some vinyls and CDs and things. But either way, I hope you'll keep in touch on Instagram or Facebook or whatever you use, and hopefully we'll see you next time. And then all my music is on Spotify and Apple Music and all those things. So, yeah, we're going to do this last song, and it would mean a lot if you'll sing along with me. when the night is young and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. Come on. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, and the mountains should crumble to the sea, no, I won't be afraid. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Thank you guys so much.
Well, let's give it up again for Trey Pearson. I think they like you. You may be seated. As we do every week here in Church in Bethesda, we invite you to be a part of a time in our worship where we get to reflect on the lesson that we've learned, what the Holy Spirit has spoken to us as individuals, and what the Holy Spirit has spoken to us individually. I'm going to pray, and then Allison is going to come and guide us through our time of reflection, and Lisa will let us know about our table time activity for today. Almighty God, we thank you for the gifts that Trey has brought to us today. Gifts of song, gifts of story, and the gift of Trey himself. It's my prayer today that wherever we are on the topic of love, that we would always be opening ourselves more and more to how vast the love of God is. How we will never figure out how big the love of God is. And that you would help us to get comfortable with just treading water in that ocean. Never let us stop growing in our love for you, our love for one another. We thank you for the example of that love in this place today that Trey has shared with us. Amen.